for progressive Democrats. And in fact, some of these leaders have seemed to side with the forces of disorder against the forces of order in the person of their own police departments. So this is something you're going to hear a lot from Republicans next week, but apparently not at all from Democrats.
We will ask both sides. Xochitl Hinojosa from the DNC coming up, Ronna McDaniel from the RNC to also react to that. But Byron, meanwhile, Drew Hernandez is the person who filmed what we have all seen for several days now play out when that man was dragged and beaten in the street. Here he is talking about what he saw and what his takeaway was from it.
I've seen a lot of crazy stuff, especially in Portland. But what I witnessed this particular night literally was, in my professional opinion, based upon what I saw and what they did from beginning to end in context, was literally a borderline execution.
But again, no focus on that by the Democrats last night, Byron. You're predicting that this will come up next week when the Republican convention is underway. But will it hurt Democrats to not acknowledge at least what we've seen so far this week at the convention of what we're seeing playing out in our streets?
It depends on whether Republicans and President Trump can skillfully make use of this. Remember, this disorder in Portland was supposed to stop when Department of Homeland Security officials, law enforcement officials, left the city. Remember, they were there to protect the federal courthouse there, which was being attacked on a daily basis, and the mayor of Portland and the governor of Oregon all blamed the federal law enforcement for the violence and said if it weren't there and if it had not been sent there by President Trump, then it would end. Well, they left, and it hasn't ended. So here again, this is something that Republicans, I mean, they're saying it right now, but they'll have the spotlight next week during the convention to make that case.
I want to play for you what we did hear from a lot of the speakers so far at the convention. And a lot of the focus has been on Joe Biden's character and him being a good person. Listen.
Faced with a president of cowardice, Joe Biden is a man of proven courage.
Donald Trump has divided our country, diminished our greatness. We need a president with dignity, integrity.
A man with a mission to take responsibility, not shift the blame.
And Joe will restore honesty, decency, and trust to the White House.
How he restored decency to our government.
He's a decent, compassionate man.
So you heard a lot of that last night, and I can't help but ask you about what we saw and heard from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in her 1-minute delivery. She didn't even mention Joe Biden by name. The New York Post takes it on this morning. AOC, Joe, she had her moment and didn't even say Joe Biden's name.
Well, remember, Bernie Sanders got 1,000 delegates last night. That's not nothing. There are a lot of people who supported Bernie Sanders in this, and she made it clear that she was pushing her agenda, the Green New Deal, enormous taxes, federal spending, all that sort of stuff. She was pushing her agenda to use her 60-plus seconds. She got a few more than that to do this. So this was, I think, another example of the way this split has not fully healed. 4 years ago, we talked about it as the Bernie-Hillary split, and now it's become the Bernie-Biden split. But the fact is, it's still a split.
Fair enough. Byron York, what was it that you titled your piece this morning in the Washington Examiner? I just had it in front of me. The Sad Telethon, Night 2.
Well, one commentator, yes. Well, one commentator did call it the Sad Telethon, and that was pretty apropos. Last night started like the previous night ended, which was attack, 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 attack. It did improve enormously with the arrival of Jill Biden and a biographical video about Joe Biden and the enormous loss that he suffered in 1972 when his wife and infant daughter were killed in a car crash. He and Jill Biden building a life together over the years, and then tragedy striking again in 2015 when his 46-year-old son, Beau, died, and he got up again. And this is a very human story, and she told it very well. And in her live remarks, there was one name you did not hear at all, and that was Trump. It was not an attack Trump. It was a talk about Biden night.
She earned a lot of praise for her moment last night as well, Dr. Biden. Byron York, great of you to be here this morning. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Sandra.
While more colleges pulling the plug on in-person learning as COVID-19 cases spike on campus, Michigan State University and Notre Dame University becoming the latest colleges to suspend in-person classes and revert back to fully remote learning. Notre Dame students returned to classes in South Bend, Indiana earlier this month, but the university president says the surge in cases forced their hand.
The objective of these temporary restrictions is to contain the spread of the virus so that we can get back to in-person instruction. If these steps are not successful, we will have to send students home. Our contact tracing analysis indicates that most infections are coming from off-campus gatherings. Students infected at those gatherings passed it on to others who in turn have passed the virus on to a further group, resulting in the positive cases we have seen.
There are nearly 5.5 million confirmed coronavirus cases in the United States, with more than 171,000 deaths.
A massive fire erupts at a plant in Texas, what investigators believe sparked the inferno, plus this.
I support Joe Biden because beginning on day one, he will restore Americans' leadership and our moral authority. He'll be a president who knows that America is strongest when, as he has said, we lead both by the power of our example and the example of our power.
Former Secretary of State Colin Powell becoming the latest prominent Republican to throw his support behind Joe Biden in the race for the White House. Is that a concern for the Trump campaign headed into Election Day? We'll get reaction from RNC Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel to that and night 2 of the DNC and a preview of next week. Next.
It's about the humans. These humans, those humans, proven and golden. It's about getting more than health insurance and a partner who listens and acts. Humana calls it human care. It's talking to a doctor from your couch or helping you find a cheaper prescription before you ask. It's helping you fix the rugs so you don't fall and keeping you social, online or off. It's getting to know you so you can be your healthiest. That's our superpower. That's human care from Humana.
This month on BritBox, British mysteries reach perfection.
I'm the new chief constable.
Rob Lowe is Wild Bill. And the saintly sleuth is back in brand new Father Brown. All exclusive to BritBox. Watch with a free trial.
Honey, the mattresses are here.
Setup was super easy.
Yeah.
We got 100 nights to try it. I'll be 10 by then, so I'm out of my own place.
What do you think about moving?
Arizona.
Hiring is challenging, especially for key roles.
Finding the right people is a very difficult task. ZipRecruiter finds us the best people for the job. They sent my jobs to the top job sites and found people with the right skills and experience. We've hired everyone from accountants to project managers to field scientists. With ZipRecruiter, we get hiring results.
ZipRecruiter, rated the #1 hiring site. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Fox.
If you're overweight, you might think it's your metabolism, but it could be a condition called insulin resistance. Fat becomes trapped inside your body, and it's hard to lose weight even if you diet. Now there's a solution to insulin resistance called Golo. Golo reverses insulin resistance and increases metabolic efficiency. Over 500,000 people have tried Golo with a 98% satisfaction rating. Head to Golo.com now to find out more. That's GOLO.com.
Your house brought you together. Like, really together. And although together is great, together with more space is better. With Rocket Mortgage, you get personalized loan options, closing costs, and tax estimates all in real time. So when you need to know what it takes for a home to fit your budget and your family, Rocket can.
A Mike Pompeo exclusive. After Iran warns of a dangerous future, the Secretary of State details the threat and strategy to ease tensions tonight on Special Report.
Comfort Windows and Doors is the one company with windows made in New York that are New York tough. The only one with full-time employed professional installers who you can trust with your home.
And the only one that warranties your windows for a lifetime.
The Great Comfort Give Back continues, bringing big State Fair savings to you with 25% off all projects, plus great give back financing options. Visit comfortwindows.com to schedule your free estimate today.
Fox News Alert now. Let's take a look at live pictures. A massive fire is burning at an industrial plant in Grand Prairie, Texas. This is just outside of Dallas. The fire chief says it started after a power line fell onto a sheet of plastic overnight. Firefighters believe the fire could burn until tomorrow and warned that the heat could bring down more power lines on surrounding roads. The power company has cut electricity to the area as a precaution there. We'll keep you updated on this. So far, no injuries have been reported.
I support Joe Biden for the presidency of the United States because those values still define him, and we need to restore those values to the White House. Our country needs a commander-in-chief who takes care of our troops in the same way he would his own family. For Joe Biden, that doesn't need teaching.
Former Secretary of State Colin Powell there praising Joe Biden's character during the Democratic convention last night. Cindy McCain, the widow of Senator John McCain, used a pre-recorded message to recount Biden's decades-long friendship with her husband. And while McCain stopped short of endorsing Biden, Powell joined 4 other Republicans in doing so. Ronna McDaniel is the RNC chairwoman, and she is here to react this morning. We appreciate it. Ronna, good morning to you. So does this concern the Trump campaign?
Not at all. I mean, Colin Powell hasn't been a Republican since the early 2000s. He hasn't supported our previous nominees. This isn't surprising. This group of never Trumpers has left the Republican Party, and it's frustrating to see them embrace socialism and a candidate who's going to raise taxes on 82% of American households, who's saying let's give free health care to people who come here illegally, and abandoning the principles of our party like deregulation, cutting taxes, strengthening the military, all things that Donald Trump stands for.
Here's more from Cindy McCain and her praise for Joe Biden last night.
Even if a deal seemed out of reach, it was always Joe who tried to cross the aisle.
It was a style of legislating and leadership that you don't find much anymore.
That's something that the Republican Party fears may resonate with voters.
You know, I think last night was about Joe Biden of 2004 or 2008, and they're not talking about the Joe Biden 2020 who has embraced AOC and Bernie Sanders, the Joe Biden who has said we're going to kill every energy job in this country, the Joe Biden who is embracing the Green New Deal, the Joe Biden who last night said we're going to give free 4-year college to everybody. What does that mean? Your taxes are going to go through the roof, and he is going to bankrupt this country as he is a bridge to socialism. And they're not highlighting the policies he's running on. They're talking about what a good guy he is. Well, he's not a good guy when he's raising taxes on 82% of American households.
What do you think about that, though, when you watch, we're going into night 3 of the Democratic convention, and there hasn't been a whole lot of policy focus. It has been a lot of attacks on President Trump. I want to put this up here. This is the latest ABC polls showing the enthusiasm gap between Trump and Biden. Do you mainly support Trump or mainly oppose Biden? Those that support President Trump, 74%, to those that oppose Biden, 24%. Now put up the Biden supporters. Those that support Joe Biden, 41%. Those that oppose Donald Trump, 56%. How does that translate to votes for your candidate, Ronna?
Well, to only have 41% of people supporting their candidate is really dismal. The fact that he's hiding in his basement, that he won't take tough questions, and they're running a campaign of fiction. I mean, last night I thought this is fiction, fluff, and fantasy that we're seeing from the Democrats. And there is no policy being put forward to the American people. They're not telling you your taxes are going to go up under Joe Biden. It's going to cost you more to drive a car and to heat your house, and he's going to destroy the American economy. These are things that are not being put forward as they have their Hollywood screenwriters and their actresses and their actors and their elites lecturing the rest of the country on what they think we should envision for America. But they're not being honest about the true policies that Joe Biden's putting forward.
All right, final question. I want to put this Wall Street Journal headline up on the screen. This is the Jason Riley op-ed taking on Kamala Harris on her policing policies, because as we know, tonight is her big night. Will the real Kamala Harris please stand up? Once a tough-on-crime prosecutor, she now can't answer a simple question about defunding the police. Alas, the old Kamala Harris has gone missing, and you could easily mistake her replacement for one of those progressives she once mocked as out of touch. So again, we've got the DNC coming up in just a few moments, Rana, but what is your expectation for Kamala, and how do Republicans focus their attacks with her now on the stage?
Well, there's been no better attack dog on Joe Biden than Kamala Harris. I mean, she called him a racist and she called him sexist. So it's going to be interesting to see her shift tonight to embrace the candidate that she criticized so forcefully during the primaries. I do think it has been noticeable that the Democrats have not talked about the violence, the protests, all that we're seeing across this country that is incredibly fearful, creating a lot of fear for many Americans as they see what's happening in Portland. Democrats calling for defunding the police. This radical left agenda that has pulled Kamala and Joe so far to the extreme. The real star of the convention last night, even though she only had 60 seconds, was AOC, because she's the leader of the Democrat Party.
Obviously, and I just want to go back. She didn't say those with those words. There are some who suggest that she was insinuating that by her attacks on Joe Biden on those debate stages. We will see. And again, DNC coming up with their reaction in just a moment. Rana, and a big week for you guys next week as the Republican convention is underway. Appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, California declaring a state of emergency. Fire crews struggling to contain facing dozens of wildfires during a record heat wave. What state officials are warning today. Plus, Kamala Harris set to make history tonight as the third woman and first woman of color on a major party's ticket for vice president. We'll take a look back at the last woman nominated for that job.
I love those hockey moms. You know, they say the difference between a hockey mom and a pit bull? Lipstick.
Headlines are suggesting the next upside is gold. Want to make money in 2020? Gold and silver are looking like a good bet. Gold sets up for another massive move higher. Gold prices are surging. Why the rally is just getting started. Call Lear Capital now for your special report, The Precious Metals Breakout. It's the story you've never heard and the chart you've never seen. What's this chart telling us? Gold prices could be headed much higher. When could this happen? Call now. Get the report. See why many Americans are turning to gold.
It makes sense to move a portion of your money into something that's historically undervalued. Buy low, sell high. The first rule of investing, gold and silver fits that bill.
Get your special report and ask how you can receive up to $5,000 in bonus gold. Lear Capital, 20 years in business and over 85,000 customers. Give us a call today. 800-885-2000. 800-885-2000. 800-885-2000.
Since you're heading off to school, I got you this Brita.
Dad, I just got a Zero Water.
But we always use Brita.
Its 2-stage filter doesn't compare to Zero Water's 5-stage. This meter shows how much stuff or dissolved solids gets left behind. Our tap water is 220.
Ooh.
Brita is 110.
Seriously?
But Zero Water...
Let me guess. 0?
Yep, that's how I know that it is the purest tasting water.
I need to find the receipt for that.
Oh yeah, you do.
These are tough times, but it's even worse if you're stuck paying endless fees for a timeshare you were misled into buying.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, and now, more than ever, taking care of our physical and financial health has never been more important. If you were told that timeshare was a great investment or your maintenance fees will never go up, you need my help. In 2020, a lot of things have changed. One thing hasn't: our commitment to helping good folks just like you cancel your timeshare contracts permanently. We've helped over 13,000 families completely eliminate their timeshare debt, saving them an average of $65,000 in lifetime timeshare payments. So call my office today. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll cancel your timeshare contract or you'll pay nothing.
For your free information kit, call 800-280-2299. That's 800-280-2299. 800-280-2299.
My name is Dr. Roger Bond. I've been in practice for around 30 years now. One of the products that I recommend to my patients, I highly recommend, is getting Balance of Nature into their diet and getting more fruits and vegetables. Back in the early 2000s, I began to have some respiratory issues that affected my practice, and I had to cut back on a lot of things that I enjoy, including my horses. It affected my family life to the point where I'd come home from work and basically just lay down on the carpet because I was so tired. As I took Balance of Nature, that began to slowly change, and the energy came back, and was able to enjoy time with my family. I recommend Balance of Nature to all of my patients because it's a product that works.
Start today by going to balanceofnature.com and use discount code FOXNEWS.
I've pulled your credit and I've got some bad news. We're going to pass on that loan.
What? You just said a second ago I was fine.
Oh, yeah. That was before we saw all the negative items on there.
Wait, negative items? That doesn't sound right.
You know, it's like they say, bad credit is forever.
That sounds made up. Kind of like these items on my credit.
Well, just because you haven't heard of it doesn't mean they don't say it.
They say a lot of things about credit. We say enough is enough. Try something new, starting with a free credit evaluation from creditrepair.com.
It is the bottom of the hour. Time for the top stories. Portland police declaring a riot as protesters set fires through rocks and attacked a government building overnight. Meanwhile, police identifying a suspect in Sunday's vicious attack on a truck driver. His name, Marquise Love. Anyone with information on his whereabouts is asked to call police.
The University of Notre Dame moving all classes online just 8 days into the semester after 146 students and a staff member tested positive for the coronavirus. This comes one day after the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill made a similar announcement.
And it is day 3 of the Democratic National Convention. Senator Kamala Harris expected to formally accept her nomination for vice president tonight. She will become the first woman of color to be nominated for national office by a major political party.
More now on the Democratic Convention with Marie Harf. She is the executive director of Serve America PAC and a Fox News contributor. Marie, always good to see you. You know, we all know that the AOC nomination of Bernie Sanders was nothing more than symbolic, but it was confusing, certainly to people and to NBC News, because NBC News tweeted out, you know, big headlines. Look, she did not endorse Joe Biden, which she was furious about. And she responded saying the following, quoting here, "This is completely unacceptable, disappointing and appalling. The DNC shared the procedural purpose of my remarks to media well in advance. NBC knew what was going to happen and that it was routine. How does a headline like that malicious and misleading happen with that prior knowledge?" And it's a thing, Marie, because she's a conduit to younger voters. And if younger voters get the perception that she's not on Joe Biden's team, that hurts the Biden campaign.
Yeah, Trace, AOC did exactly what the Biden campaign asked her to do as part of this convention. As you mentioned, it was a procedure that was necessary under Democratic Party rules. And I actually think she did a pretty good job in 60 seconds of outlining her philosophy of governing and of leading. So I do think that NBC News holds a ton of responsibility for this mess up here. All of the news outlets knew this was procedural. They didn't correct it until a tweet at 1 a.m. And I do think that does a disservice to people, Trace, because these convention rules are kind of arcane and we're all doing conventions in different ways this year. But NBC perpetrated a caricature of AOC that just wasn't true based on what she did last night.
Yeah, interesting because, 60 seconds. It was actually more like 95. I didn't count it, but like 95 seconds. She had a bit more than 60 seconds. It's interesting because the complaint for the past couple of days from the left and from, younger trending publications like Rolling Stone is that this whole convention is aimed at, as swaying moderates and disillusioned Republicans. In fact, the youth movement, Sunrise Movement founder Evan Weber, he writes this, quoting here, "The DNC bent over backward yesterday to give a platform to Republicans and moderates. They should at least give the same, if not more, effort to welcome progressives." Do you feel like that they should be kind of leaning more toward progressives, or is that a fair assessment?
I think they're trying to do both, Trace, in this convention. And look, AOC on her own, by the way, has been campaigning for Joe Biden and telling people to vote for him. So you've heard from Bernie Sanders. We will hear tonight from Elizabeth Warren, who is also from the left wing of the party. We're doing both, though, under the theory that in order to win this election, Joe Biden needs to coalesce all of the parts of the Democratic Party, and you hear left-wing voices saying, vote for Joe Biden. But also bring in independents, bring in some of those Obama-Trump voters who left the Democratic Party to vote for Donald Trump, but who've come back to the party in the 2018 midterms, and who people like Colin Powell or John Kasich could possibly help come back even more. It's a big tent party, and that's what you see on stage here, a lot of diverse voices.
I think it's interesting because Democrats are complaining that people like AOC are not getting enough time, and yet Republicans are saying, including the president, give her all the time in the world. Give her as much time as she wants. In fact, other progressives, listen to the president yesterday in Yuma, Arizona, and I'll get your response.
These people are sick, and we have to make sure that this radical left, socialist and beyond, because this is beyond socialism, this is beyond socialism, that it doesn't happen, or we will indeed have Venezuela on steroids. So we can't do it. Most important election, November 3rd, get out and vote. Joe Biden is the puppet of the radical left-wing movement.
The theme here, Marie, is the more progressives speak, the better off Republicans are. Final thoughts, quickly.
Well, look, Republicans are going to obsess so much over AOC that someday she'll be in the Senate or the White House if they keep this up. But she put forward a message last night of racial justice, of an economy that works for everyone, not just the wealthy. I would love for people to actually watch her speech and think about what they don't agree with. We may disagree about policies for how to get there, but she's talking about health care for all, an economy that works for everyone. These are not radical ideas, and Joe Biden is going to have Donald Trump is going to have a very hard time pinning radicalism on Joe Biden. It's just not there, Trace.
Yeah. Marie Harf, always good to see you. Thank you.
Thanks, Trace.
Fox News alert now. California declaring a state of emergency with dozens of wildfires burning across the state. A record-setting West Coast heat wave combined with high winds and low humidity is draining resources there. Jeff Paul's live in Los Angeles with the latest. Jeff.
Yeah, Sandra, as many as 30 major wildfires burning throughout the state of California. Some are now combining with each other, forming larger complex fires that are threatening even more homes and even forcing more people to evacuate. Now, some of the worst fires right now are burning in Northern California and Napa's wine country, as well as just outside the Bay Area. Tens of thousands of acres have been burned so far. Crews are working around the clock to contain the fires, but they are still burning out of control. Several homes have already been destroyed, and due to the dry, hot conditions with really no relief in sight, fire crews say they're preparing for a long battle ahead.
Unfortunately, we probably will likely see additional structures destroyed. We're seeing a lot of extreme fire behavior, rapid rates of spread, and explosive growth.
Now, the heat not only taxing on the fires, but it's also proving to stress the power grid out. Officials have warned of rolling blackouts due to increased energy use, but so far it seems as though Californians have started to back off their use of energy. We haven't seen those major rolling blackouts like that were threatened to many Californians. We have heard of some power outages, but that is due to the increased heat that is overloading the power grid. Sandra?
Okay, Jeff Paul from Los Angeles for us. Jeff, thank you.
Well, Democratic convention speakers blasting President Trump's response to the coronavirus pandemic while avoiding any mention of the rise of violent crime in American cities. Will that message resonate? Karl Rove is next. Plus, the Postmaster General now backing down, suspending cuts to the Postal Service until after the election. We'll have new reaction from the White House straight ahead.
We made USAA insurance for veterans like Liz and Mike, an Army family who's always at the ready. So when they got a little surprise, they didn't panic. They got a bigger car for their soon-to-be bigger family. After shopping around for insurance, they called USAA, who helped find the right coverage for them and even some much-needed savings.
That was the easy part.
USAA insurance has made the way Liz and Mike need it easy. USAA, what you're made of, we're made for.
Home. Home. Something to be proud of. Home. Safe.
Comfort. Worthy of protection.
Family. Home.
I was deployed to Afghanistan.
I was on patrol. March 26, 2010. During a dismounted patrol,
I happened to step in the wrong spot
and took a sniper round into the chest.
This is the date I was hit.
I lost my legs almost immediately.
I lost my left hand and both my legs above the knee.
My arm was gone, so I closed my eyes, thinking to myself, if I just keep breathing, I will make it home to my wife. I just wanted to serve my country. Every day I'm still adapting to this new life.
It was hard having everybody change their lifestyle to take care of me. A typical home doesn't feel like home to me.
They have to carry my chair up the stairs.
The hardest thing in my life is to have to call and yell for my children to help pick me off the bathroom floor.
Where do you go when home isn't home anymore?
This is Mark Wahlberg. There are over 1,000 families that need our help. Talented Towers is honoring those heroes that risk their lives by providing them with mortgage-free homes.
Yes, I'm on the waiting list to have a home built. It's going to be amazing.
The smart home technology, it makes my life a whole lot easier.
And it's 100% accessible. It's built to fit my needs. For me to gain independence again would be just amazing.
Be able to just take care of myself as an individual. This home will allow me to be self-sufficient.
It'll help me live my life. It gives me back some of my dignity, who I used to be.
There is a waiting list for houses.
This is the waiting list. There are a lot of people on that list, yeah.
There are a lot of guys like me out there. Maybe too many. It gives you back your dignity, your pride, your self-perseverance.
Thanks to Talented Towers, I'm going to have all these freedoms given back to me. Home.
Personal. Safety.
Dignity. Family. Independence. Confidence. It's the American dream, isn't it? Home.
I'd like to ask you to contribute $11 a month to support their efforts. Please visit TomofTheTowers.org.
This is Kate. She always wanted her smile to shine. Now she uses a capful of TheraBreath Healthy Smile Oral Rinse to give her the healthy, sparkly smile she always wanted. TheraBreath. It's a better mouthwash at Walmart, Target, and other fine stores.
Some small businesses don't have storefronts. Their office is a truck, and their workplace is your home. You won't find them on Main Street, but for over 20 years, you've been able to find them on Home Advisor. Book the best local pro for any home project, online or with the app.
Isn't it times like these that reminds us of what's important? The people in our lives. The ones we love. The ones who love us. And after all, what could be more important than love? We're ready to welcome you back with open arms and lots of love. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
Get back to your original color, whatever your shade. Trust Just for Men, now with a new look. Still 5 easy minutes, same great gray-free results. Just for Men original formula is now shampoo in color. Be the better man you are and look the part.
As a real estate agent, I've learned it's excess moisture that causes musty odors. Pro tip, use Damp Rid.
Damp Rid drop-in tabs attract and trap excess moisture out of the air, eliminating musty odors.
Works every time.
Get rid of dampness.
Damp Rid.
Democrats this week blasting the Trump administration's response to the coronavirus outbreak, but none of them have mentioned the rising crime and unrest in major U.S. cities across the country. Here's Bill Clinton last night slamming President Trump's handling of the coronavirus pandemic.
How did Donald Trump respond? At first, he said the virus was under control and would soon disappear. When it didn't, he was on TV every day bragging on what a great job he was doing. At a time like this, the Oval Office should be a command center. Instead, it's a storm center. There's only chaos. Just one thing never changes: his determination to deny responsibility and shift the blame. The buck never stops there.
Let's bring in Karl Rove, former White House Deputy Chief of Staff and a Fox News contributor. Karl, good morning. I know you have so many really interesting takeaways from what we've seen the last couple of nights. Some good, some bad, some to learn from when it comes to the RNC this week. But when you look at that messaging, and they're really hitting the president and his team on the coronavirus response. But where was the talk about policing, the defund the police movement in America, the violence in our major cities happening across the country? Where was that last night?
Yeah, well, nowhere, and it's been nowhere since the violence broke out. We've got two issues here. Let me say something first about COVID. They have focused on that every single time. You saw it in Michelle Obama's comments. You saw it in Bill Clinton's comments. I suspect we're going to see it in Kamala Harris. We've seen it in a lot of the comments made, even during the roll call. More than half of the states issuing their roll call had a focus. They had a nurse in Nebraska talking about COVID. I mean, half of them, more than half of the states mentioned it in their remarks. The weakness for the Democrats is Joe Biden, when asked by Joy Reid about 3 weeks ago, what would you do differently, had 6 items that he said he would do, every one of which Donald Trump had already done. So this does not mean necessarily a durable for the next 70 days. But yeah, they had good message discipline. But you're right. They're not talking about something that is bothering a lot of Americans, and they've not been talking about it at all. I found one instance in which, like in 4 words, Joe Biden condemned violence, but you never hear him speaking when we see the courthouse in Portland being assaulted, arson being done, and the rage in Chicago on the Miracle Mile. He's strangely silent on this, and I think it's because the Democrats understand that for them to condemn this violence would really alienate a significant element of their, or could endanger their support among a significant element of the Democratic left.
So you wonder if it will hurt them in the end, because I'm sure, Karl, you're going to tell me to expect a lot of that from the Republican convention next week. But perhaps this is a message that will work for Democrats. Look at this Fox News polling on Americans thinking on whether or not the virus is under control, Karl. Those that think it's completely under control is in the single digits, 7%. Those that think it is not at all under control is nearly 50% now, Karl. So perhaps they see this as a winning message for them to beat Donald Trump.
Well, you know what? I think people look at COVID differently than they look at, say, for example, the economy or healthcare or the environment. They don't think that Donald Trump brought this on. And so the question is, does the president's rhetoric on the plague match what people's perceptions are? Today they don't, but on the other hand, he's at least trying to do something. And he has done things. And for Joe Biden, again, I go back to that Joy Reid interview. It was jaw-dropping. I mean, he was like, let's use we ought to invoke the Defense Production Act. Well, the president had done so 30 times. He said, we ought to appoint somebody to be in charge of distribution and production of the vaccines. Well, that happened in May, and he's speaking in July and doesn't seem to be aware that the president appointed the head of the Army Materials Command to make certain that we have enough capacity to produce a vaccine and we have the proper means to produce it. He even appointed a National Science Foundation panel to help go through the difficult ethical question of who gets the vaccine first. So, again, at some point, this is going to be prosecuted between the two candidates. It may be in a debate. And can you see Donald Trump saying, well, you told Joy Reid you wanted to do 6 things, and every one of those things I had already done. And besides that, you opposed me on China and said it was a mistake for me to impose a ban on China. So we'll see how it plays out. But it's not necessarily, it's a winner last night and the night before, not necessarily a winner.
As always, I wish I had more time with you, Karl. We'll see you again soon. Thanks so much.
You bet. Thank you.
Trace?
Well, Notre Dame, among several colleges, suspending in-person classes as cases surge. What's being blamed for the spikes there and in other colleges? Dr. Mark Siegel joins us with that next.
We know you
you want to give Donald Trump 4 more years to fight for you in Washington. But he isn't just up against Joe Biden. He's up against the Democrat fundraising machine, and he needs all the help he can get. Don't just assume because his opponent hasn't completed a single sentence that this campaign is over. Crazy things happen, like this woman becoming Speaker of the House. Support the president today by texting USA1 to 88022. Donald Trump is counting on every single one of his supporters to text USA1 to 88022 now.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
People who Home Chef make delicious homemade food look entirely too easy. These geniuses know Home Chef makes delicious food simple. Get started at homechef.com. Home Chef. Delicious meets simple.
It's time for the biggest sale of the year on the Sleep Number 360 smart bed.
Can I help with snoring?
I've never heard snoring.
Exactly.
No problem. And done. And now all beds are on sale. Save 50% on the Sleep Number 360 limited edition smart bed. Only for a limited time.
Let me ask you a question. Do you want to get a little healthier, maybe lose some weight? Guys, I got you.
Lose up to 18 pounds in your first 2 months. Money back guaranteed. Order right now. Get 50% off a month of meals and 50% off a month of shakes with probiotics to help support your immunity.
Just call now or order online. Either way, don't wait.
Go online or call 888-521-FIT8 to save 50% on a month of meals and 50% on a month of shakes.
Well, this is overwhelming. Where to start? Just step into a store? No, there's a better way. You know what you want? Overstock's where you find it. A sofa, a floor lamp, an area rug, with free shipping every day. Easy, right? Getting it done with Overstock, where quality costs less.
You've probably become an expert in a lot of things lately, but nanny taxes? No way. And you may owe them, even if you only pay $100 a week. So let HomePay by Care.com help. From taxes to payroll, get the first month free. HomePay.com.
All eyes are on Kamala Harris
as she accepts a historic nomination.
Fred and Martha anchor special coverage of the Democratic National Convention, Democracy 2020. It's in your hands.
Alex, what?
Winkles? The clown name? No, clown name's Mr. Winky. You all right?
Not at all.
Everybody in my circle is loyal. Someone is setting you up.
I'm gonna find out who did this.
Promise you won't do anything crazy.
You know I can't do that.
If you have been diagnosed with mesothelioma or lung cancer, you need a law firm with decades of experience representing victims of asbestos disease. A law firm with the resources to guide you through the court system, workers' compensation claims, and estate work, and one with deep roots in your community. Lipsitz and Pontario is that law firm. Obtain the results you and your family deserve. Call Lipsitz and Pontario today.
Need a fence? Are you tired of your old dingy fence? Protect your family and pets this season. Enhance your property the virtually maintenance-free way with a fence from the Vinyl Outlet. Strengthen the value and safety of your home. It's not too late to call Western New York's elite fence installers, the Vinyl Outlet. Enjoy up to 25% savings on installation and great special financing. Trust in the best. Call the Vinyl Outlet today, 675-0800 or thevinyloutlet.com.
Let us transform your home.
Ranked among the best in the United States for high ethics and adherence to professional standards of conduct, Brown Chiari is proud to serve Western New Yorkers whose lives have been changed by injury. With a preeminent peer review, Brown Chiari is rated at the highest level for legal knowledge, good judgment, excellent communication skills, and trial experience. Everything you need to achieve maximum compensation should you need legal help. Contact Brown Chiari today.
Wuhan, China appears to be moving on from the coronavirus pandemic. This new video shows thousands packing into a water park there over the weekend. Crowds standing shoulder to shoulder at some points at an electronic music festival, most without masks. The entire province was locked down, you'll remember, for 76 days this spring. China claims Wuhan has not had a confirmed case since May.
Well, we're seeing a spike in coronavirus cases among young adults as students return to college campuses across the U.S. Notre Dame, UNC Chapel Hill already reverting back to remote-only learning after a spike in cases, and Michigan State says they will start their semester fully remote. Let's bring in Dr. Mark Siegel, professor of medicine at NYU Langone Medical Center. He's also a Fox News contributor. Dr. Siegel, always good to see you. Why are these colleges so surprised? We knew this was going to happen. They were going to go back on campus, get together, off-campus parties, and they were going to spread the coronavirus. Why is there this surprise across the country?
Actually, Trace, it's exactly what you just said. It's because parties are occurring, people are in gatherings, they're not social distancing, they're not wearing masks. But I want to tell you, there's a difference from one university to the next. Now, Notre Dame had a 19% positivity rate on their testing this week, and they tested over 11,000 students. And they had 147 positive cases, so they had trouble, and they went to online. But I want to do a comparison for you between the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill and Duke in Durham, 10 miles away. Very different. UNC had 324 positive cases, including 45 staff members. And again, it's because of the partying and that lack of social distancing. And they had to go to online. And that's a lot of cases when you consider the whole state of North Carolina only had about 515 new cases yesterday. But look at Duke. Duke had 11 cases. Duke has a compact you have to sign which says wear a mask, social distancing, no gatherings. Duke is testing a lot of people, about 6,000 people, and they have had a much better result so far. University of North Carolina filled their quarantine center in 1 week, so it's a difference in technique.
But the president and the provost of Cornell University wrote this op-ed in the Wall Street Journal saying, you know, because of infections, better to have these students on campus than off campus, quoting for many universities, closing the campus to undergraduates is probably not the safest option. Notwithstanding concerns that college students may not adhere to public health guidelines, that's because at many colleges, students will gather on and around campuses, whether classes are held in person or online. The theme is either you stay on campus and you test people and you know who's positive, or you don't, and you don't know who's positive.
Completely agree with that. That's so smart because you know what? It's a built-in quarantine situation on campus. If the students are off campus, they're roaming around the country from one hot spot to another, taking no precautions. And you just said at the outset, it's young people that are spreading this right now. If you're in the university, you can quarantine that whole university setting, like Ithaca, New York is in the middle of nowhere, Cornell. Same idea at other universities. So I'm in agreement with that.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. It's, you know, a danger of kids going back to their hometowns after going to college for a couple of weeks. Dr. Mark Siegel, good to see you. Thank you, sir.
Got to keep grandma safe.
A historic night ahead for the third night of the Democratic Convention. Senator Kamala Harris will officially accept her party's nomination for vice president. We will have a preview of the big night ahead coming up.
When you've got auto glass damage, Safe Light can come to you.
And you'll get a text when we're on our way.
Just leave your keys on the dash, and we'll replace your windshield with safe, no-contact service. Schedule at safelight.com.
Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace.
Today, your information is exposed and vulnerable to cyber criminals. That's why Norton and LifeLock are now one. Get all-in-one protection on Norton.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Just like you, I had problems sleeping. I tried every pillow out there and nothing worked. 15 years ago, I invented MyPillow. It took me 2 years to develop because I wanted to have everything you would ever want in a pillow. I made sure that you could adjust my patented fill so you could have the exact support you need as an individual regardless of your sleep position. I also wanted a pillow that would last, so I made MyPillow machine washable and dryable. I back MyPillow with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. Not only that, I do all my own manufacturing in my home state of Minnesota.
I really like the fact that it was made in the USA. I think that USA products are a better quality product. I've tried a lot of other pillows, and nothing's worked like MyPillow.
I'm interrupting this commercial right now to give you deep discounts, not just on my pillows, but also my mattress toppers, sheets, and so much more. For example, you can get body pillows regularly $89.99, now only $29.99, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
I used to think that sheets were just sheets. I got the Giza Dream sheets. They are the most comfortable sheets I've ever had.
The Go Anywhere pillow is so easy to just roll up and take anywhere I want to go.
Go Anywhere pillow is really comfortable, so that's what I really like. It's nice and supportive and it's nice and small.
The My Pillow Topper, for the first time, has enabled me to have a cool night's sleep. I'm able to go to bed and just get rest.
That's 3 inches of wonderful that's in the My Pillow mattress topper. It's just like a firm cloud.
My Pillow helps me get a good night's sleep so I can do my job in the morning.
Go to MyPillow.com to get deep discounts, not just on My Pillows, but so much more. For example, you get body pillows, regular $89.99, now only $29.99. Or My Pillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
What does it mean to devote your life to the truth? Does it mean investigating communist subversion here in America? Does it mean exposing the deadly fentanyl crisis in the Midwest? We're spending late nights uncovering deep government corruption? Because at a time when America's traditional values are under attack, it's the responsibility of righteous journalists to uphold truth and tradition.
This summer, turn your yard into the perfect getaway. From lawn care to patio upgrades, HomeAdvisor has the best pros to get the job done right. Get the HomeAdvisor app and easily check prices, schedule, and pay in seconds. You can count on HomeAdvisor for any project you're dreaming of.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
I wish I could shake your hand.
Granted. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, liberty, liberty.
It's official. Joe Biden is now the Democratic nominee for president.
From the bottom of my heart, thank you all. It means the world to me and my family. And I'll see you on Thursday. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Overnight, police declaring a riot after several fires were set downtown.
Do not interfere with officers taking lawful action. Stay back.
Wildfires rapidly spread in Northern California overnight. The governor declaring a statewide emergency. Wildfires near Napa nearly tripling in size, torching more than 32,000 acres.
Those stories and more in just a moment. But first, it is official. Joe Biden formally securing the Democratic nomination, setting him up to challenge President Trump for the White House in November. Welcome to a brand new hour of America's Newsroom. We're moving along here. I'm Sandra Smith.
Sandra, good morning to you. I'm Trace Gallagher. Joe Biden clinching the nomination on night 2 of the Democratic convention. Some big names stepping into the spotlight last night, making the case for Biden.
Faced with a president of cowardice, Joe Biden is a man of proven courage.
Joe Biden will be a president we will all be proud to salute.
America deserves a president who is looked up to, not laughed at.
At a time like this, the Oval Office should be a command center. Instead, it's a storm center. There's only chaos.
We just need leadership worthy of our nation, worthy of you, leadership to reimagine what our nation will be. That's Joe. He and Kamala will work as hard as you do every day to make this nation better.
Team Fox coverage now. Mike Tobin in Wisconsin, where Trump backers are holding a rally today. Brian Yennis in the battleground state of Pennsylvania.
But first to Griff Jenkins in Wilmington, Delaware, as Kamala Harris gets ready to accept the nomination for vice president. Griff, it's quite a lineup tonight.
It sure is, Sandra. Trace, good morning. They are indeed bringing out the Democratic Party star power tonight. Of course, Vice Presidential nominee Kamala Harris accepting the nomination tonight. We'll see what she has to see. But you also have several other headliners that include House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, along with former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, Senator Elizabeth Warren, the one-time primary challenger, and then closing the night, former President Barack Obama. And if his speech is anything similar to his eulogy for John Lewis, expect him to blast the current administration before making the case for Joe Biden. We will have to wait and see what he has to say. Sandra?
All right, Griff, last night's big speaker was, of course, Dr. Jill Biden, and she is speaking out this morning. What is she saying, Griff?
Yeah, last night she had such an emotional, compassionate case she made for her husband's presidency. But this morning she was asked on the morning programs about her husband's mental sharpness and ability to serve as president. Here is some of what Dr. Jill Biden had to say.
I see Joe every single day, and he's writing speeches, he's being briefed, he's making phone calls. I don't see any of that. I mean, Joe is totally engaged, and you know Joe, I mean, he loves it. He's the, I guess, consummate politician.
Back to last night, Sandra, there was an interesting moment. Many wondered what Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez would say in her limited time frame, and were shocked when she made no mention of Biden's name and nominated Bernie Sanders. She later clarified in a tweet saying that it was a procedural vote, and she was asked by the convention organizers to second Sanders' nomination because he had passed the delegate threshold to do so. But perhaps it was a telling moment of just how far the Democrat Party's positions have shifted since Biden first ran for president in 1988. Finally, a lot of people talking about what a hit those delegate videos were, the virtual nationwide delegate videos from 57 different places, ranging from a beach in American Samoa to the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Alabama, to the welcome sign in Las Vegas, to the shores of Rhode Island, where a state representative nominated Joe Biden next to a chef holding a plate of calamari. It was really something interesting. It'll be fascinating, Sandra and Trace, to see if the Republicans take a cue from perhaps the success of such a video like that in such an interesting time we're in.
The state
Sandra,
appetizer
Trace?
there. I know you're a big fan of it, Griff. Griff, great reporting. Thank you so much.
Meantime, the political battle in Wisconsin intensifies. President Trump and his surrogates are flooding the state with a counter voice to the Democratic convention based in Milwaukee. Mike Tobin is live in West Bend, Wisconsin, where Bikers for Trump are getting ready to hold a big rally. Mike.
And, you know, Trace, that tradition of taking a down week and remaining silent while the opposition holds their convention is just being disregarded. Trump or a surrogate has been in Wisconsin every day of the Democrats' convention. On the first day, Trump came to Oshkosh and did an event in an airplane hangar there. The event was limited to 500 people, but Democrats said the event was irresponsible and it only served to feed the president's ego. Eric Trump came to Milwaukee yesterday, the vice president today in Janesville, Wisconsin. Also today, Bikers for Trump. They're going to come here to the fairground in West Bend, Wisconsin. They recently held Trump rallies at the big Sturgis Biker Rally, which came under fire for disregarding COVID precautions. Chris Cox, the organizer, says they are a proactive group. This is the first time they've shown up to oppose anything, but they want to make a visual, they want to make some noise, they want to show support for Trump, oppose defunding the police. Many of them are veterans, and they may be joined by former Governor Scott Walker. Cox tells me they are not looking for a conflict, and there's a good chance they won't get one. When the Democrats say they're not coming to Wisconsin, they mean it. They're down to a bare-bones staff. In fact, about the only presence we see downtown are people, the pro-lifers, who are demonstrating. Trace?
Mike Tobin live for us in West Bend, Wisconsin. Mike, thank you.
Human trials are underway now for a coronavirus vaccine, but scientists are worried because not enough minorities are signing up to test the vaccine. They make up more than half of all people testing positive for COVID-19, and so far, only a small percentage are among the volunteers taking part in clinical trials. Researchers are worried that this could delay approval for a vaccine.
Well, the Postmaster General announcing he'll delay some operational changes to mail delivery until after the election. Postmaster General Louis DeJoy issuing a statement saying, quote, "The Postal Service is ready today to handle whatever volume of election mail it receives this fall. To avoid even the appearance of any impact on the election mail, I am suspending these initiatives until after the election is concluded." The sudden reversal comes as more than 20 states announced they would be suing to stop those changes.
Fox News alert now from Portland. A manhunt intensifies for the suspect in that brutal beating of a truck driver on Sunday night. The attack caught on surveillance video. We are warning viewers the following images are graphic.
Back up, bro. Sit down. Sit down. Sit the Hey, bro, you're not leaving, bro. Chill.
He was pulled, that driver was pulled from his truck and then beaten violently until one man kicks him in the head, leaving him unconscious. Police have identified now the suspect as 25-year-old Marquise Love. Dan Springer's live in Seattle now with what we're learning there. Dan.
And Sandra, another riot declared in Portland last night with a new target hit by arsonists and a manhunt for the man suspected of that vicious assault Sunday night. Police have been trying to find 25-year-old Marquise Love for 2 days. There was so much video of that attack, but so far he's managed to avoid capture. Portland police tell us that they are working with his parents in hopes of getting him to turn himself in. Love used to work as a private security guard and a DJ. He was a regular at the Black Lives Matter protests in Portland. His criminal history includes a domestic assault in 2017. The victim is 40-year-old Adam Hayner. We have been in contact with his brother, who tells us that he is at home recovering. Last night, Portland police declared yet another riot downtown when arsonists tried to set the Multnomah County building on fire. They smashed windows and doors and threw lit paper into the lobby. They even used lighter fluid as an accelerant. Some in the crowd of around 200 people also set dumpsters on fire in the streets. The county building is where the COVID-19 response is coordinated for the county. In a statement, Multnomah County Chair Deborah Kafoury said, quote, "This is the heart of our county where people in our community come to get married, get their passports, and celebrate their cultural traditions and diversity." And now it just joins the list of buildings damaged during 83 nights of anarchy in Portland. Sandra?
All right, that manhunt continues. Dan Springer, thank you.
Well, critics pouncing on Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for not mentioning Joe Biden in her DNC speech. How the Congresswoman is now firing back. Plus, convention speakers looking to draw a stark comparison between President Trump and Joe Biden. Is that resonating? This as former rivals become allies, echoing conventions past.
I move Senator Barack Obama of Illinois be selected by this convention by acclamation as the nominee of the Democratic Party for President of the United States.
I try to put my arm around any vet that I can, absolutely. At New Day USA, that's what we're doing. We put our arm around the veterans. When I think of the veteran out there that he needs to refi his home, he may want to purchase, and we can help them and provide that financial solution for they and their families, it's a great, rewarding feeling. Everybody in the company, they have that deference and that respect and that love for the veteran that makes this company so unique.
Call 1-833-834-6521.
It's time for the biggest sale of the year on the Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed. You can adjust your comfort on both sides, your Sleep Number setting.
Can it help me fall asleep faster?
Yes, by gently warming your feet.
But can it help keep me asleep?
Absolutely. It intelligently senses your movements and automatically adjusts to keep you both effortlessly comfortable.
Will it help me keep up with Mom?
You got this.
So you can really promise better sleep.
Not promise, prove. And now all beds are on sale. Save 50% on the Sleep Number 360 limited edition smart bed, only for a limited time. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com.
My name is Dr. Roger Bond. I've been in practice for around 30 years now. One of the products that I recommend to my patients, I highly recommend, is getting balance of nature into their diet and getting more fruits and vegetables. Back in the early 2000s, I began to have some respiratory issues that affected my practice, and I had to cut back on a lot of things that I enjoy, including my horses. It affected my family life to the point where I'd come home from work and basically just lay down on the carpet because I was so tired. As I took Balance of Nature, that began to slowly change and the energy came back and was able to enjoy time with my family. I recommend Balance of Nature to all of my patients because it's a product that works.
Start today by going to balanceofnature.com and use discount code FOXNEWS.
Hiring is challenging, especially for key roles.
Finding the right people is a very difficult task. ZipRecruiter finds us the best people for the job. They sent my jobs to the top job sites and found people with the right skills and experience. We've hired everyone from accountants to project managers to field scientists. With ZipRecruiter, we get hiring results.
ZipRecruiter, rated the #1 hiring site. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Fox.
Breaking down the DNC, Day 3. After the night's big speakers take the virtual stage, Laura's all-star lineup has immediate reaction. Then, Shannon has the insight you need. Tonight on our Can't Miss coverage.
With Spectrum Mobile, what you see is what you get. That means no added taxes or fees. Get an unlimited data plan for just $45 a month per line. That includes unlimited talk and text, too. You can save up to 40% on your mobile bill, and there are no contracts. Experience the fastest overall speeds and the most reliable mobile service coast to coast with Spectrum Mobile. Now the fastest growing mobile provider in the nation. Learn more at spectrummobile.com.
Motorcycles are beautiful and powerful machines. Unfortunately, many drivers are careless when it comes to sharing the road with bikers. The lawyers at Salino & Barnes know motorcycle law and have helped many injured bikers get the settlement they deserve. If you've been hurt in a motorcycle accident, call one of our nation's largest personal injury law firms. Don't wait. Call 8.
Salino & Barnes, injury attorneys. Call 888-8888.
Don't wait. Call 8.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo under fire for writing a book on his state's handling of the coronavirus. New York has suffered the highest death toll in the nation during the pandemic. Governor Cuomo was widely criticized for essentially ordering nursing homes to accept COVID-19 patients from hospitals, a policy that was later reversed. The book is titled American Crisis, and it comes out in October.
Democrats making it official last night, formally nominating Joe Biden for president in a roll call vote. This as convention speakers work to draw a contrast between Joe Biden and President Donald Trump on both policy and personality. Here to talk about it, DNC Communications Director Xochitl Hinojosa. Xochitl, welcome. Great of you to be here this morning. We had Rana here from the RNC earlier. We'll ask you about some of the things she had to say in just a moment. But when it came to the balance last night of policy talk versus personality, is your party happy with the way the last two nights have come across?
Our party is very happy with the way things have come across so far. And the whole theme of our convention is focused on unity, uniting America. We want to make sure regardless of who you voted for in 2016, that you come out and vote. And that's why you'll see throughout our program, you have folks who are part of the Democratic Party, folks who have never been part of the Democratic Party. You had a number of Republican leaders out there speaking out against Trump. And then you have the stories of American people who've been impacted by Trump, but at the same time, focus on Joe Biden's steady leadership. And so you will see that throughout the 4 nights. Tonight is also a night that we're really excited about. You will have Barack Obama and Kamala Harris, a number of stories focused on climate change, immigration, and gun violence, and we're excited about tonight as well.
Okay, so Kamala Harris, this is her big night tonight. And Jason Riley in the Wall Street Journal is asking this question. Will the real Kamala Harris please stand up? He says, once a tough on crime prosecutor, now she can't answer a simple question about defunding the police. Will she talk about that growing movement tonight on her big night? Will there be any mention of the violence in American cities across this country?
Well, first of all, the campaign has been very clear when it comes to defunding the police. They do not support defunding the police. And I don't know how many times we have to say this on this network or others, but that is the case. What you will hear from Kamala Harris is you will hear that she will be a steady leader and ready to lead on day one. And a Joe Biden, Kamala Harris presidency is one that will lift people up, unite our country, and make sure that with the unrest happening all across this country, that we're doing everything we can to bring people together. We are about inclusion, not exclusion. And that's what you will see in our program over these 4 nights versus next week. You will see divisiveness. You will see chaos. That is exactly what we expect from Republicans next week.
So you will talk about the fact that you've got police retiring in record numbers across the country, a drop in morale that is harmful to people who don't feel safe in some of our streets. Will we then, is that a guarantee we're going to hear about that tonight? Because that's been missing from the last couple of nights.
Well, I actually point to the conversation that Joe Biden had on racial justice. You had someone from law enforcement involved in the program from Houston, where he talks about that a lot of the cops that are out there and the police officers, your law enforcement, are good people. And, and he talked a little bit about Joe Biden's steady leadership. At the same time, we need to make sure that we are providing law enforcement the tools they need and the training that they need in order to do their jobs. And right now, the Trump administration hasn't done that.
All right. Well, as you have seen from the Trump camp, they continue to make the charge that the radical left is in charge, not Joe Biden. Here's the Trump 2020 communications director on that. This is a campaign statement. Someone should have explained to Joe Biden that he is now the official nominee of the Democratic Party, meaning his supervisors from the radical left are now formally in charge. I say that in the context of, you can throw the New York Post cover up on the screen. And Sochi, if you haven't seen it yet, it's AOC, Joe. Left hook socialist firebrand doesn't even mention Biden in speech. She spoke for a minute last night and never even mentioned Joe Biden by name. Is this a sign of division within your own party, Sochi?
The Republican Party wishes that we were divided, but we're actually more unified than ever, and it scares them. And I think what you just heard from Ronna Romney McDaniel on your show, that our program is focused on fiction, fluff, and fantasy. And frankly, is she saying that the woman from Arizona, Kristen, that spoke earlier this week, that her father dying because of COVID, he was a Trump supporter? Is she saying that that is fiction? Is she saying that the man who is in our program who has ALS, and Andy Barkin, who was scared about his health insurance, was she saying that is fiction?
Okay, to be fair,
again,
she's not here, so let me direct the question, something that she pointed out to us in that conversation, and I'll play the soundbite for you. But she said her observation, looking at the last couple of nights, is that your party is focusing on the Joe Biden of 2004, not the Joe Biden of today. Listen.
Last night was about Joe Biden of 2004 or 2008, and they're not talking about the Joe Biden 2020 who has embraced AOC and Bernie Sanders. Your taxes are going to go through the roof, and he is going to bankrupt this country as he is a bridge to socialism. And they're not highlighting the policies he's running on. They're talking about what a good guy he is. Well, he's not a good guy when he's raising taxes on 82% of American households.
Fair criticism?
Well, Ronna Romney McDaniel right now is terrified because there are folks from her party who are speaking at our convention, and that just shows the unity. On one night, you had Bernie Sanders, who is making the case for Joe Biden. You will have Elizabeth Warren. You will have Barack Obama. You had Michelle Obama. And then you also have Republicans. You saw Cindy McCain yesterday in that video. You also saw John Kasich, and you saw Colin Powell. And so you're seeing this party, you're seeing the country coming together around Joe Biden. I would love to pose a question to Ronna McDaniel. How are you going to bring the country together? Will your program look like that? I don't think that they've only divided our country. And I think that they are running scared because they are falling in the polls right now.
How does tonight go?
We're excited about tonight. Again, you have Kamala Harris. You have a number of different speakers like Nancy Pelosi. We're going to make sure that we are lifting people up. Our theme for tonight is a more perfect union. You will see more unity, and we're excited about that.
All right, Sochi Hinojosa, appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on. Hope to have you back soon. Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, big changes coming to the University of Notre Dame amid a spike in coronavirus cases. What the university is now doing. Plus, Senator Kamala Harris entering the record books, set to become the first African-American and Indian-American woman to accept the nomination for vice president on a major ticket. A look at other female trailblazers. Still ahead.
What real leadership looks like is Joe Biden. To speak up, sometimes telling us the stuff that we don't necessarily want to hear, but we need to know. Joe Biden is about real leadership in our country, and I'm honored to be with you, Joe.
I'm Bill Hemmer.
I'm Brett Baer.
I'm Dana Perino, and this is the Fox News Rundown. America is listening to the Fox News Rundown, covering the biggest moments from the race to the White House with our unrivaled Democracy 2020 coverage and the top news stories 7 days a week. Download the Fox News Rundown at foxnewspodcast.com or wherever you get your podcast.
Hi, I'm William Devane, and I see the world in crisis, with political upheaval and unstable governments trying to print their way out of money troubles. I've become very concerned, and that's why I buy gold every chance I get. I even like the feel of gold. I buy my gold from Roslyn Capital because I trust them. No 0 or 1% over cost gimmicks. Roslyn will beat any price of any coin at any time. Just call them. And Roslyn ships my gold faster than anyone else, and that's important to me. You can also put your gold in a retirement IRA. So protect yourself from the chaos. Invest in stability with Roslyn Capital.
Call Roslyn Capital now to get your free gold kit, free silver kit, and free IRA kit with smart ways you can transfer or roll over your IRA. Call 800-630-8900, 800-630-8900, 800-630-8900.
People across America trust Nutrisystem because we deliver your favorite foods made healthier right to your door. It's convenient home delivery of delicious meals and snacks to help you stay healthy. We're here for you now. Get 50% off a month of meals and 50% off a month of shakes with probiotics to help support your immunity.
Go online or call 888-573-SIZE to save 50% on a month of meals and 50% on a month of shakes.
Being a patient with diabetes myself, I can say without question that the Dexcom system is the most powerful tool to help navigate diabetes better on a daily basis.
I love it. I just wear a little sensor and that's it. It's totally painless and private.
The Dexcom sends my glucose readings to my receiver every 5 minutes. I just pull it out of my pocket and look, and I don't have to prick my finger.
Dexcom puts you in control, not your diabetes.
Hi, I'm Pat, and I'm 75 years old. We live in the mountains, so I like to walk. I'm really busy in my life. I'm always doing something. I'm not a person that's going to sit too long. In the morning, I wake up, and the first thing I do is go to my art studio. A couple came up and handed me a brochure on Prevagen. I've been taking Prevagen for about 4 years. I feel a little bit brighter, and my mind just feels sharper. I would recommend it to anyone. It absolutely works.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life.
It was 1961 when Nellie Young lost her devoted husband. Without him, things were tough. Her last option was to sell her home, but her home meant everything to her. Her husband had been a high school football coach, and it turned out one of his former players came up with an answer, a loan created just for older homeowners. And pretty soon, Nellie Young had one of the first reverse mortgages.
Discover if a reverse mortgage loan is right for you. Use it to eliminate monthly mortgage payments and increase cash flow. Create an emergency fund, preserve retirement savings, and more. Call now for your free information kit. Call 800-304-1758.
That first reverse mortgage loan meant Nellie could stay in the home she loved so much, with memories that meant even more. A reverse mortgage loan isn't some kind of trick to take your home. It's a loan, and it's tax-free cash just when you need it. It's about making your retirement better.
Call today and find out more in AAG's free, no-obligation reverse mortgage loan guide. Access tax-free cash and stay in the home you love.
Of course, you can use it to pay some bills, cover medical costs, update or repair your home, but best of all, it eliminates those monthly mortgage payments so you get more cash in your pocket every month.
Learn how you can use a reverse mortgage loan to cover your expenses, pay for health care, preserve retirement savings, and so much more.
A lot's changed since 1961. Since then, over 1 million older Americans have used a reverse mortgage loan to finance their retirement. It meant so much to Nellie. Maybe it can mean as much to you.
Call now and get your free info kit. Call 800-304-1758.
It is the bottom of the hour. Time for some of the top stories. Police searching for the man seen in this video punching a worker that was sweeping debris in downtown Chicago. The attack happened apparently for no reason, and the suspect ran off.
Dozens of raging wildfires exploding across California from along the northern coast to counties in the south. All this as the state tries to avoid another day of rolling blackouts in the middle of a searing heat wave.
The University of Notre Dame joining North Carolina and more than a dozen other universities canceling in-person classes after a surge of coronavirus hits campus. The schools switching to online learning.
Well, the battle for Pennsylvania is on. Republicans say President Trump will win it again by winning rural counties in even larger numbers than he did back in 2016. But Democrats say Joe Biden is ready to flip the Keystone State to blue. Brian Yennis is live in Reading, Pennsylvania with more. Brian.
Trace, good morning. Reading, Pennsylvania is one of the poorest small cities in America. Reading is in Berks County, and in 2012, Mitt Romney won this county by just 1,000 votes. But in 2016, President Trump won Berks County by 18,000 votes. Democrats believe they have to boost Hispanic and black voter turnout in the state's urban centers in order to make some of these communities, these counties that are competitive closer in order to close the gap against President Trump. Now, black voter turnout was down in 2016. The NAACP in Pennsylvania believes that vice presidential nominee Senator Kamala Harris will help turnout, but it won't be enough. They've also launched a Get Out the Vote campaign called Wake Up the Black Vote.
Here in Pennsylvania, this is probably the first real serious broad effort under an umbrella such as Wake Up Black Vote. To get out the black vote. We're taking a look at the numbers in the past election, and we are absolutely aggressively looking to increase those numbers by no less than 50 to 75%.
President Trump won Pennsylvania in 2016 by just 44,000 votes, and he did it by winning rural counties in the state by larger margins than expected. He flipped counties like Luzerne, Northampton, and Erie. Those are blue-collar communities. Republicans believe the president has even more enthusiasm in those communities this time around. We visited farmers yesterday in central Pennsylvania and spoke to Jason Naylor. He's a 38-year-old dairy farmer and a Trump supporter. Still, Naylor says he and his younger farmer friends would be open to listening to Biden's campaign, but so far, he says, the Biden campaign hasn't done much outreach in his communities.
The newer generation, we will listen. We will hear what they have to say. We will take into what they say to consideration as far as our decisions in November. If they come up with a plan that we feel safe and with, they absolutely may flip a few farmers around here.
Reading, Pennsylvania is now a majority Latino community, and the leaders here say that mail-in ballots, Trace, they believe will actually increase Latino voter turnout this time around. Trace?
Brian Yennis live for us in Reading, Pennsylvania. Brian, thank you.
Kamala Harris on the verge of history, about to become the first woman of color and first South Asian woman to accept the nomination as vice president on a major party ticket. Jackie Heinrich has more on the history of female leaders in our country.
Joe Biden had the audacity to choose a black woman to be his running mate.
Senator Kamala Harris has been a lot of firsts. The first black and first female San Francisco DA and California Attorney General. Later, the first black woman California elected to the Senate. Now she stands to become the first black and South Asian vice president. But she's not the first black woman to appear on a presidential ticket. Before her came Charlotta Bass in 1952, the Progressive Party's VP nominee. It would be another 32 years before another woman was nominated.
My name is Geraldine Ferraro.
Geraldine Ferraro studied law at night before becoming the first woman elected to Congress from Queens. Occasionally breaking with her party, her slogan was, "Finally, a tough Democrat." She served 3 terms before joining the 1984 ticket with Walter Mondale.
By choosing a woman to run for our nation's second highest office, you send a powerful signal to all Americans.
I, Ronald Reagan. But they lost to Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush, beginning a 24-year wait for the next woman to get so far. Sarah Palin was the first female and youngest ever governor of Alaska when Senator John McCain asked her to be his 2008 running mate, making her the first Republican female VP nominee. A lifetime NRA member and one-time beauty queen, Palin often made headlines.
I love those hockey moms. You know, they say the difference between a hockey mom and a pit bull? Lipstick.
And after Barack Obama and Joe Biden won the election, Palin found a home at Fox News alongside the trailblazer before her.
They are sharing the screen for the first time ever.
Ferraro died in 2011 of blood cancer. But as Kamala Harris enters the race, Palin offered some advice, including, out the chute, trust no one new. Harris, with her courtroom chops,
be sure about your answer, sir,
isn't afraid to go toe-to-toe, even once with her current running mate.
And that little girl was me.
Despite that icy exchange, Joe Biden's heart led him to Harris.
I know how much Bo respected Kamala and her work, and that mattered a lot to me, to be honest with you.
In Wilmington, Delaware, Jackie Heinrich, Fox News.
Thanks to Jackie for that, Trace. All those moments, so many of them feel like yesterday, but a really neat look back at some of those key moments for women in presidential politics in this country.
In the early years, Geraldine Ferraro was on Fox News Channel a lot, just a wonderful woman talking about how so surprised she was when she was actually chosen as vice president candidate.
And tonight
really
is
amazing.
the big night for Kamala Harris, so we'll all be watching.
Indeed, yeah. Fox News alert now. A massive fire burning at an industrial plant. This is in Grand Prairie, Texas for you. That's just outside of Dallas. Fire chief says it started after a power line fell onto a sheet of plastic overnight. Firefighters believe the fire could burn until tomorrow. The problem is not necessarily evacuations or the smoke. They're worried that there's not enough foam in the fire department to put this thing out, which is why it could burn for several days. We mentioned it was started by a power line coming down, and the big worry here is that as those power lines continue to fall, it could be dominoes, and those lines could fall for a half mile or 3/4 of a mile, and that means you're talking about a lot of power being out to some areas in that town. We'll keep an eye on this as we get live pictures coming in from Grand Prairie, Texas.
We will for sure keep watching that. Thank you, Trace. It's a story that rocked the sports world nearly 30 years ago, the murder of Michael Jordan's father. Now an update on one of the men convicted in that killing. Plus, Joe Biden last night turning his attention to health care, the reforms that he is calling for, and how they could impact the race for the White House.
I'm going to protect you like I tried to protect my own family. And I promise you that.
The Martins here just realized they outgrew their home, so they used Rocket Mortgage to finance their next one. Need to know if your next home fits your budget and your family? Rocket can.
At Safelite, we're committed to taking care of you and your car.
We'll fix it right with no contact service you can trust.
So if you have auto glass damage, stay safe with Safelite.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Joe Biden says,
if you elect me, your taxes are going to be raised, not cut.
That means middle-class families, small businesses, and seniors pay higher taxes. It's the biggest tax increase in history.
Citizenship for 11 million undocumented folks.
That means 11 million illegal immigrants competing for American jobs, eligible for free health care, Social Security, and Medicare. America can't afford Joe Biden.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again. Life I love is making music with my friends. And I can't wait to get on the road again. On the road again.
The open road is open again. And wherever you're headed, Choice Hotels is there. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
Well, this is overwhelming. Where to start? Listen to celebrity decorators with their $1 million budgets and enormous staff? That's realistic. Or just step into a store. Oh, no. There's a better way. You've skimmed catalogs. You've browsed through blogs. You know what you like when you see it. Artful contemporary, Scandinavian minimalism, organic modern. You know what you want. Overstock's where you find it. Now let's get to work. A sofa, a floor lamp, an area rug. Never forget the area rug. Everything you need with free shipping every day. Easy, right? Getting it done with Overstock, where quality costs less.
Attention, anyone on Medicare. Did you know you may now be eligible for additional Medicare-approved benefits?
I'm on Medicare. What kind of additional benefits could I be eligible for?
You may now be eligible for additional Medicare-approved benefits, including dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drugs. Just call 800-454-1178 now to find out if you're eligible for a Medicare Advantage plan that includes additional benefits like free hearing aids, free eyeglasses, free meal delivery, and expanded at-home telehealth visits.
Can I really get extra benefits for little to no additional costs?
You may also be eligible for $0 monthly premiums, $0 deductibles, or no copays. Just call the toll-free number on your screen now to see if you qualify for additional benefits. There is no obligation to enroll. The call and Medicare benefits review are absolutely free.
I'm at home mostly now. What benefits can I get here at my home?
You may also be eligible for additional benefits with a Medicare Advantage plan that includes additional benefits like home prescription delivery and expanded at-home telehealth visits. You don't get these benefits automatically, so call now to see if you're eligible. Just call 800-454-1178 now to find out if you're eligible for a Medicare Advantage plan that includes additional benefits like free hearing aids, free eyeglasses, free meal delivery, and free rides to medical appointments. You may also be eligible for $0 monthly premiums, $0 deductibles, or no copays. Just call the toll-free number on your screen now to see if you qualify for additional benefits, including dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drugs. There is no obligation to enroll. The call and Medicare benefits review are absolutely free. Just call 800-454-1178. 800-454-1178.
North Carolina officials granting parole to one of the two men convicted in the 1993 murder of Michael Jordan's father. Larry Demery was 17 years old when he and another teenager shot James Jordan on a North Carolina highway and stole his car. He was sentenced to life in prison, but will now be released 3 years from now. Michael Jordan has so far declined to comment.
We're going to make sure we don't lose that ACA. We're going to provide a Medicare-like option as a public option. And any state where there is if you qualify for Medicaid and the state hasn't provided it, you'd automatically be enrolled.
Well, fresh off securing the Democratic nomination for President, Joe Biden pledging to revamp the nation's health care system, strengthening the Affordable Care Act, and rolling out a public option. Here to talk about it is the host of Bulls and Bears, my old friend David Asman. David, always good to see you.
Good to see you, Trace.
You heard Joe Biden there just talking about how he really wants to kind of build on the Affordable Care Act, bring back the individual mandate that President Trump got rid of. What does that look like cost-wise today, David, and in today's economy?
Well, by today's standards, of course, we've been spending trillions of dollars on COVID relief. So this is a really unusual period of time to compare with anything. But we've gone through some of the numbers, and Joe Biden himself went through some of the numbers of Medicare for All, which is what a lot of people in his party would prefer right now. And the cost of that is $30 to $40 trillion over 10 years. And here's what Joe Biden said about that in a debate with other Democratic rivals back in February. He said that the plan, Medicare for All, would cost more than the entire federal budget that we spend now. I think he was right. At $30 to $40 trillion over 10 years, that is the entire federal budget. Now, the reason I bring Medicare for All up is because he was followed last night by a strong advocate of Medicare for All. So while he's saying one thing, other members of the party are saying something else. Until that issue is locked in. And again, the question really is, given Joe Biden's state right now, would he hold the line on not going for Medicare for All? And a lot of people think he wouldn't.
Yeah, and that's the big concern is, you have Joe Biden, all these progressives saying that Joe Biden is definitely going to go to the left, and they're kind of building this whole, they're staying moderate. I want to put this up. The Chamber of Commerce kind of echoed what you were saying there, David. It says, quote, a Medicare buy-in or a public option is bad for business. It would inject uncertainty and pose direct threats to the nation's health care system. Not just cost-wise, as you mentioned, the trillions, as, just bad for the healthcare system overall.
Well, that's the point. I mentioned the cost, which is just almost unattainable on a regular basis without a huge middle-class tax hike like they have in England to pay for their socialized medical system. They have a value-added tax, adds about 40% to everything they buy. That's what we would have to do here. The average person, middle-class people would pay for it. But you're exactly right, and so is the Chamber on this point. The quality quality of health care. Spend a week in a hospital in England, a public hospital in England. I had to spend a month there once because my wife was sick in England. It was awful. This was the best medical care that you could receive in England at the time for her particular problem. And even so, it was filthy. There was one person to clean the whole place for the entire month that we were there. One guy with a mop and a bucket. The medical care was compassionate enough, but they just didn't have the equipment. The system is broke, even with all the money they pay. So the quality of health care would decline dramatically in this country from where it is now, even for those who are on Medicare or Medicaid.
And you talk about how far the party has gone to the left. You know, the Biden plan would also allow illegal immigrants to buy into a public option. It wouldn't subsidize it, but it would allow them to buy in. Interesting, because if you go back to the Affordable Care Act, it did not allow illegal immigrants to buy in. So there's a dramatic shift on its own.
There is. And the point is that everything is a right from the socialist perspective of Bernie Sanders, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and the people who I think now are the major energy and push in the Democratic Party. You look at housing as a right. You look at education as a right. Food care is a right. If everything is a right, you owe everything to the government. And then you have no rights, Trace. That's the point. That's the problem with socialism, as wonderful as it sounds. Everything is free. Healthcare, housing, food, et cetera, education. But if everything is a right, you end up with no rights because you owe the government everything. And that is the fatal flaw of socialism.
Yeah, and I got to go, David, but I'm curious if you think, as you look at the landscape here with coronavirus and, healthcare, does it give Joe Biden an opening to talk about healthcare?
Oh, of course it does. And frankly, the Obama-Biden administration had their own problem with a virus back in 2014 with Ebola. And they were seen as totally failing that until it turned around after about a year. So it's still early days, as much as we've gone through with all the deaths and all the tragedy in this country and in the whole world. This is a different kind of virus because of the fact that it was spread pretty much intentionally by China when they closed down their own country but allowed it to spread in Europe, and then it came here to the United States. So it's a different kind of virus, but it does provide an opening for Biden to say, because we're in the midst of the same kind of crisis he was in with Ebola in 2014. It's still a very tender spot, a sore spot, if you will, with President Trump, despite everything that he has done to try to combat it.
David Asman, good to see you.
Great to see you.
Thank you.
Democrats making room for some Republicans at the Democratic National Convention supporting Joe Biden for president. Kellyanne Conway with brand new reaction from the White House to that. Plus, former President Bill Clinton making an appearance last night, but his role as a leading Democrat cut back. Howie Kurtz ahead on his take why Clinton has become a mere footnote, he says, for the party he once led.
The Fed is printing money like crazy. Debt is rising by the trillions. Is there a way to profit from this madness? What do these experts say?
The more money you print, the less your dollars are worth, and that's why you want to own gold in your portfolio.
Even Bank of America says $3,000 gold is entirely possible.
Silver still has the biggest run coming up.
Gold will outperform stocks, and silver will outperform gold.
Experts agree. Massive money printing and rising debt could send gold and silver prices much higher. How high? Find out. Call for the experts' money printing report and gold and silver decision guide. See just how high gold and silver prices could go.
I think gold and silver will win big.
The report and guide are free. Also ask how you can get $5,000 in bonus gold or silver. Call Lear Capital now at 800-780-8500. 800-780-8500. 800-780-8500.
Is your computer running slow? Before you go spend a ton of money on a new one, go to mycleanpc.com and run our free computer diagnosis. MyCleanPC's free scan will uncover what's making your PC run slow. In minutes, you can activate MyCleanPC software to clean out junk files that slow your computer and internet browsing speeds down. MyCleanPC increases your computer speed and helps protect your privacy online. Go to mycleanpc.com and start your free PC scan now.
It's time for the biggest sale of the year on the Sleep Number 360 smart bed. You can adjust your comfort on both sides, your Sleep Number setting.
Can it help me fall asleep faster?
Yes, by gently warming your feet.
But can it help keep me asleep?
Absolutely. It intelligently senses your movements and automatically adjusts to keep you both effortlessly comfortable.
Will it help me keep up with Mom?
You got this.
So you can really promise better sleep.
Not promise, prove. And now all beds are on sale. Save 50% on the Sleep Number 360 limited edition smart bed. Only for a limited time. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com.
All eyes are on Kamala Harris
as she accepts a historic nomination.
Fred and Martha anchor special coverage of the Democratic National Convention, Democracy 2020. It's in your hands.
With Spectrum Mobile, what you see is what you get. That means no added taxes or fees. Get an unlimited data plan for just $45 a month per line. That includes unlimited talk and text, too. You can save up to 40% on your mobile bill, and there are no contracts. Experience the fastest overall speeds and the most reliable mobile service coast to coast with Spectrum Mobile. Now the fastest growing mobile provider in the nation. Learn more at spectrummobile.com.
Attention anyone on Medicare. Did you know you may now be eligible for additional Medicare-approved benefits, including dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage? Just call the toll-free number on your screen now to see if you qualify. The Medicare Benefits and Questions line is now open to help anyone on Medicare make sure you are getting the benefits you deserve. Just call 800-955-5341 now to find out if you're eligible for a Medicare Advantage plan that includes additional benefits like free hearing aids, free eyeglasses, free meal delivery, and free rides to medical appointments. You may also be eligible for $0 monthly premiums, $0 deductibles, or no copays. Just call the toll-free number on your screen now to see if you qualify for additional benefits including dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drugs. There is no obligation to enroll. The call and Medicare benefits review are absolutely free. Just call 800-955-5341. 800-955-5341.
Isn't it time to upgrade your porch or deck? Finally improve the safety and value of your home with Western New York's best porch and deck builders, the Vinyl Outlet. See for yourself why homeowners everywhere have invested in the virtually maintenance-free way to enjoy one of your most desired living spaces. We take great pride in the quality of our work and superior products. Save up to 25% on installation and great special financing. Call 675-0800 or thevinyloutlet.com.
Let us transform your home.
Fox News alert now. Victims of Joseph DeAngelo, the man known as the Golden State Killer, directly addressing him in court for the first time. Their testimony powerful and emotional.
The devil can keep you company in your prison cell as he gnaws away at whatever soul you have left.
He truly is an evil monster with no soul.
It is inconceivable that such a creature exists in this world. May he rot in hell.
DeAngelo pleaded guilty to 13 counts of first-degree murder in June for crimes committed decades ago. He will be sentenced to life in prison without parole.
The former First Lady is still drawing a lot of praise from the media with her speech on night one of the Democratic Convention. That is in contrast to the featured speaker last night, our own Howie Kurtz writing a Fox News op-ed titled, "Bill Clinton, once the dominant Democrat, now a footnote at convention." He continues, those who liked the Clinton presidency and those who despised it have always agreed that the man from Hope was a great communicator, even when he went on and on, as he did with so many State of the Union addresses. But that man didn't show up Tuesday night. Howard Kurtz is joining us now. He's a Fox News media analyst and host of Media Buzz. They certainly did not let Bill Clinton go on and on last night. Howie, why?
Yes, especially since he was on tape. Look, it was a greatly diminished performance by Bill Clinton. No trace of the old Arkansas charm. It was lackluster, not much emotion, kind of a speech that could have been delivered by everybody. Now, he's 74. He's sitting on a couch in Chappaqua. There's no crowd energy to feed off. But the reason that Clinton was relegated to 5 minutes early in the evening is his old brand of New Democrat triangulation, totally out of step with this increasingly liberal party, and his past misconduct with Monica Lewinsky and other women making him something of a liability in this Me Too world. So to me, it felt like the end of the Clinton era. I know Hillary has yet to speak for this couple that dominated Democratic politics for a quarter century.
You wrote a lot about what happened on night one, and that shining moment was Michelle Obama. She earned a lot of praise for her delivery of her speech, and you write, Michelle Obama seizes the moment at Dem's deadly, dull infomercial. You write, Michelle Obama proved herself a talented political performer, connecting what she described as the pain in the country to her husband, handing the reins to someone with a total lack of empathy who doesn't understand that Black lives matter. Even in a taped address, you say, she seized the moment, seized the audience, and didn't let go of what felt like the night's only authentic moments. So does she have a lasting impression on the week and the party going forward?
Well, certainly her goal is to fire up Black voters to turn out as they did for her husband, and they loved it at MSNBC. Rachel Maddow said her heart dropped 4 inches in her chest. That's the new thrill up the leg comment. But it contrasted so much. I mean, I think last night was a better show, for lack of a better word, by the Democrats, but it contrasted Monday night with this sort of, I guess the technical term is weird, this sort of weird telethon, disjointed, awkward, jumping from a politician to average people. I love average people, but they're not always compelling television, to a soccer star, to a singer. I mean, it just seemed to bounce around without much theme, and that's because Michelle Obama had enough time to make a case. A lot of these speeches were just a few sentences. I don't see why they bothered. I think she was the standout Monday night.
We'll see what lessons might be learned from Republicans for the week to come for the Republican convention. But that being said, tonight's a big night, night 3. We will see Kamala Harris. She will make her formal acceptance of the nomination for the vice presidency. Do you think this brings some much needed excitement to this virtual convention that we're seeing this week?
Sure, because she's a new face, but it's a really crucial moment for Kamala Harris because while most of the media are gushing over her as the VP choice, she has been pounded by the right as a radical socialist, by President Trump as angry, a mad woman, and words to that effect. Now, she has a chance tonight, Kamala Harris does, to connect with the audience, not just to define herself in terms of policy, but as a person. Will people be comfortable seeing her for the next 4 years? A heartbeat away, as the cliche goes. And so I think also she's got to balance that with praising Joe Biden because that's her primary role on the ticket. So a lot riding for her as the number 2 on her speech tonight, kind of a reintroduction to the public.
Real quick, Howie, your expectations for next week for the RNC?
Well, it's a different kind of thing because the president is so well known. He's going to participate every single night. Maybe they will learn some lessons. It's hard to put on a virtual convention with no balloons and cheering and so forth. But I think we'll see a very different look, very different message, obviously, than the Democrats have been peddling this week.
Okay, we will look forward to all of that. Howie Kurtz, great to see you this morning. Thanks so much. Trace?
Thanks, Sam.
Back coverage of live pictures out of Grand Prairie, Texas. This is that plastics plant that's still burning there. In fact, it could burn for days. This thing started because a power line, you can see the power line at the top of the screen, it fell down, it hit a sheet of plastic, this thing went up in flames. They're concerned because plastic burns very, very hot, and they don't have enough foam right now to put this out. You can see the dark smoke. That's bad. It could be toxic. They're worried about people in nearby areas because they're telling them to stay indoors. It's notable that they have not called for any kind of evacuations yet. That is still possibly in the process here. This thing again could burn for days. And the other concern is because the power lines are in the way, they feel like power lines could burn for more than a half mile, maybe 3/4 of a mile, and that would knock power out to some of the nearby neighborhoods. This is just outside of Dallas, Texas, so that's also a big concern. You talk about evacuations, they're letting workers in a nearby building stay inside that building for now because they don't believe there's a threat there. The fire is being blown the other way. So as you see the fire here, there are some workers about 3 blocks away that are still on site. We'll keep our eyes on the Grand Prairie fire as it continues. Live pictures. Sandra?
Yeah, we'll keep watching it, Trace. Thank you. Kamala Harris facing a crucial challenge tonight with the biggest speech of her career. Can she convince voters to support Joe Biden? Plus, former President Barack Obama also speaking tonight. So what else can we expect on the big night at the DNC convention? Bret Baier will be joining us at the top of the hour.
Veterans, record low mortgage rates have now fallen even lower. By refinancing at New Day, you can save $3,000 a year every year. With their VA Streamline Refi, there's no income verification, no appraisal, no out-of-pocket costs, and no VA paperwork for you. You can start the process right over the phone. Refi now and cut $3,000 a year off your mortgage payments. Loans can close in as little as 30 days. Call 1-833-834-6860.
Some things are big, others are huge. It's Empire Today's half-price sale. Get $2,400 of flooring for $1,200, $5,200 for an amazing $2,600. That's half the price of your entire purchase. Shop for carpet, hardwood, vinyl, and laminate right from home and have it professionally installed. Don't miss Empire's half-price sale. Schedule now.
800-588-2300 Empire.
Today. So who climbs ladders to clean their gutters?
Dad, I keep telling you it's dangerous.
Climbing ladders is too dangerous. Leaf Filter puts an end to that.
So how does it work?
Leaf Filter's three-piece system filters out leaves and debris, letting water flow through freely.
Do we need to replace our gutters?
Great question. Leaf Filter could be installed right on top of your existing gutters. We're sold. Call 833-LEAF-FILTER or go to getleaffilter.com for your free gutter inspection and estimate.
Hello? Weight loss is not one size fits all. And that's what's so exciting about the new personal plans from Nutrisystem. You get a plan built for your body type.
Lose up to 18 pounds and 10 inches in your first 2 months. Money back guaranteed. Get 50% off a month of meals and shakes delivered to your door.
Call or go online to get your personal plan. Designed for you.
Get 50% off a month of meals and shakes. Go online or call 877-453-SIZE.
As CEO of Wounded Warrior Project, I hear from wounded veterans every day. But I want you to know how your gifts are changing lives. Many of the same veterans who sacrificed so much for us are now facing financial crisis due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So we have provided grants to more than 11,000 warriors to help them meet critical needs. Please give to those who gave so much for us. Please go to woundedwarriorproject.org today.
These days, we're all together all the time. Working, playing, cleaning. Turns out family life can be, well, gross. But Care.com can help with lots of great housekeepers to put your messy place back together again when it's right for you. It costs less than you think. And a clean house feels so good. Get the housekeeping help you need. Care.com.
New Microban 24. Watch as Microban 24 kills 99.9% of bacteria, and then, even after multiple touches, keeps killing bacteria for 24 hours. I trust Microban 24 to keep killing bacteria for 24 hours.
Can't be that big.
Whoa!
Wow.
Told you, Dad. You just gotta think bigger.
All right, well, the Trump campaign in full reaction mode this morning now that Joe Biden's the official nominee to beat on Twitter, TV, and just about everywhere in between. The Trump team is turning up the heat on its rival. All of this coming as Democrats prepare more stinging speeches tonight, day 3 of the Democratic National Convention. Here we go. Welcome back to America's Newsroom, Hour 3, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Sandra Smith.
Sandra, good morning to you. I'm Trace Gallagher. The Trump team coming out swinging, blasting the Democratic National Convention and their new nominees, saying, in part, quoting, someone should have explained that Biden will give taxpayer-funded health care to illegal aliens and award them work permits so they can compete with Americans for jobs. The president also doubling down on his warning that former VP will be a puppet of the radical left, his son echoing those sentiments on Fox earlier.
They want to get rid of your First Amendment. They want to get rid of your Second Amendment. They are an incredibly radical party. I mean, this is not the party of JFK. This is not the party of Bill Clinton. You see them last night on the screen. You see AOC. I mean, these people they're crazy. Some of their policies are crazy and would literally destroy this country.
Hey, Chief White House correspondent John Roberts is live with more. John, good morning.
Sandra, Trace, good morning to you. We're going to hear more from the president this afternoon. 5:30, he's got one of those question-answer session briefings. But this morning, we heard from the White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, responding to the scathing attack that the former Secretary of State and presidential candidate John Kerry launched at the president last night. Listen here.
When you look at John Kerry talking about foreign policy and how he made Iran supposedly a safe nation, not a single American believes that. This is the only president who actually went after a terrorist and took him out. We saw that just a few days ago with a historic deal between the UAE and Israel, something that only John Kerry would hope for.
It should be pointed out that while President Trump did order Qasem Soleimani taken out, President Obama ordered that Osama bin Laden be taken out. So President Trump is not the only American president who has taken out a terrorist. The Trump campaign responding to the nomination roll call last night. You had one quote from spokesman Tim Murtaugh. Here's another saying, quote, when they were counting the delegates tonight, somebody should have been totaling the $4 trillion in new taxes that Joe Biden would heap on Americans if elected. The president drawing contrast with the Biden campaign, just in terms of mobility, the president traveling across the country again yesterday, Iowa and Arizona, between Monday and Tuesday, logging a total of more than 6,500 miles. Yesterday, accepting his second endorsement from the National Border Patrol Council and contrasting his policies on secure borders and illegal immigration with those of Joe Biden. Listen here.
Joe Biden is the puppet of the radical left-wing movement that seeks the complete elimination of America's borders and boundaries. They want to take the wall down. They don't want to have borders. They want to have sanctuary cities. Lots of bad things they want, following orders from his boss. I guess his new boss is Bernie Sanders.
The president is taking the day off of campaigning today. He's here at the White House all day. Again, a briefing tonight at 5:30. But tomorrow, a real in-your-face move by President Trump. He will be traveling to Joe Biden's hometown of Scranton, Pennsylvania, to have a campaign event there on the very day, Sandra, that Joe Biden accepts his party's nomination. That's trolling.
We're counter messaging. All right, John Roberts, great.
No, that's
job.
trolling.
Okay. John, thank you.
Meantime, Democrats set to make history tonight at the convention. Senator Kamala Harris will become the first woman of color officially nominated to a major party presidential ticket. Tonight, she faces the biggest challenge of her political life, convincing Americans that she deserves their vote for VP. Jackie Heinrich live for us in Wilmington, Delaware. Jackie.
Trace, good morning. Big names tonight include the 2016 Democratic presidential nominee, Hillary Clinton, also the country's first black president, Barack Obama. He will lead into the historic moment when Senator Kamala Harris accepts her nomination as the first black and South Asian woman to be named the vice presidential nominee. Since being named the VP pick, Harris has talked about her nomination breaking barriers and what it says about the direction Joe Biden wants to take the country in.
I'm the only black woman in the United States Senate, the only one, and only the second in the history of the United States Senate. And so when we look again at how far we have to go, we have a lot of work to do. And by Joe asking me to be his running mate, he has pushed forward something that might have otherwise taken decades.
This morning, Dr. Jill Biden talked about what Harris brings to the ticket. A former prosecutor and attorney general, Senator Harris made a name for herself with her tough questioning during the confirmation hearings for Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. She's expected to bring that lawyer's precision to the debate stage when she faces off against Vice President Mike Pence.
You know what? Kamala was both of our choices because I admire strong women, and Kamala's fierce and she's strong and she's tough. She'll be a good debater, and more than that, she'll be a good partner for Joe. And that's what he needs, a partner to help him govern.
We expect former President Barack Obama to testify and echoing the message last night of unity, testifying to Joe Biden's character. The Democratic National Committee said in its release today, America is not going back to where it was before Donald Trump's mismanagement of the pandemic and subsequent economic crisis, because for too many people that wasn't good enough. As he leads us out of crisis, Joe Biden will help build back better. He will have a historic partner in these efforts, the first female vice president. Now, the curveball tonight will be Hillary Clinton. The last time she spoke at the Democratic National Convention, she was leading in the polls, and she famously struggled with the results of that race. So we will see what she has to say tonight. Trace?
Jackie Heinrich live for us from Wilmington. Jackie, thank you. The Democratic National Convention doesn't seem to be getting a whole lot of love from TV viewers. As we learn, the ratings for the first night are down compared to the 2016 opening festivities, plunging 28%. That's according to The Hollywood Reporter. And it was even worse for the three broadcast networks, who saw their viewership drop by 40%.
All right, Senator Kamala Harris faces a crucial challenge as she prepares for the biggest speech that she's ever given. Brett Baer is the anchor of Special Report. He joins us now. Brett, great coverage last night. Here we go into night 3, and it is Kamala Harris's big night. What are the expectations?
Morning, Sandra. I think there is a bit of a tightrope that the Democrats are walking here. They don't really want to upset progressives in their party, but they also have sent a signal to moderates and disaffected Republicans that we're the party for you. And you've seen this in coverage so far. Politico had a piece today, left outraged by AOC's bit roll at Democratic convention. You know, some people may say they don't really have any place to go, and the biggest unifying factor is the guy who lives in the house behind me, Donald Trump. And that is true. However, they do want to fire up the base of the Democratic Party. So that is Kamala Harris's challenge. It's one of the reasons she was chosen for this position, to be able to do that outreach. But it is a bit of a tightrope in the speech and the message it sends.
And when you say reaching out to progressives, you acknowledge Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And Brett, I know you guys talked about it last night, but what a moment that was for her minute to have that spotlight and not even mention Joe Biden by name, Brett.
That's right. And she later said that that was her role, to nominate Bernie Sanders in the official role in the Democratic convention. But what she talked about was big, sweeping, systemic change. And that is not the messaging that we've heard from the Democrats and some of these speakers, including Republicans. You've had John McCain's video and Cindy McCain, Colin Powell. You've had figures from the past, Bill Clinton and John Kerry. This is not kind of forecasting the future. They did have some up-and-coming rising stars, and I said it was like virtual speed dating, seeing the 17 rising Democratic stars. But I'd be interested to see how it works tonight. I think there'll be more of a hat tip to the left.
Now, as far as expectations for Barack Obama and what we will hear from him, he's expected to counter the president's vote-by-mail criticism. Obviously, a highly anticipated speech. His spokesperson, Katie Hill, is saying this to manage expectations. President Obama will highlight the cynical moves by the current administration and the Republican Party to discourage Americans from voting. He'll make a pointed case that democracy itself is on the line, along with the chance to create a better version of it. After, obviously, a very praised performance of Michelle Obama on the first night, how much expectation and anticipation is building for the former president's speech?
I think a lot. I mean, he's a figure that is well respected in the Democratic Party. You've seen him raise a lot of money for Joe Biden and do some videos. But this speech really probably will fit the type of going after President Trump. And that role, especially on getting people out to vote, will probably point to the mail-in vote comments that President Trump has made. I will say that the Postal Service controversy has really kind of fizzled with the news about the Postmaster General, about what's happening on Capitol Hill. It seems like that has pretty much fallen apart, but Democrats are continuing to talk about it as if it is the biggest thing going.
Interesting you say that. We'll follow up with Kellyanne Conway from the White House in just a moment on that. Brett, great stuff. We'll see you again tonight. Thank you.
All right. See ya.
Okay. Trace?
Well, the governor of Texas is taking a stand against calls to defund police.
Any city that defunds police departments will have its property tax revenue frozen at the current level.
How those cities are now responding to that proposal.